Okay, so let's talk about the coronavirus pandemic because it's left so many American families facing economic hardship. And as a result of that, many parents and students, they are wondering how they can afford college in the upcoming school year. So experts say now may be a good time for parents to bargain with schools as they themselves also face a decline in enrollment. So how do you do this? Well, let's talk with the Director of College Finance for Bright Horizons College, Coach Shannon Vasconcelos. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right, so Shannon, let me ask you about this. What are some of the options for parents and their kids who are just worried right now that they may not be able to attend school in the fall because of the financial circumstance?
I always recommend that families go back to the colleges and ask for more money. If you have had a change in financial circumstances since you completed the financial aid applications, which was probably back in the fall, and it was based upon 2018 income, which might bear no resemblance to your current income situation. Lots of parents and students have been furloughed, laid off, small businesses have closed. A lot of families have had high medical expenses, unfortunately, recently, and none of that was on your aid application. So you should absolutely write an email to your financial aid office, explain any change of circumstances that you've had, document those circumstances, and ask them to reconsider your financial aid
So it's important to
package.
show proof of the circumstance then.
Absolutely. If you have had a change in circumstances that you can document, financial
Okay.
aid offices are typically very willing to consider that.
Let me
Now, if you
ask you.
haven't had any,
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
yeah, go ahead. Yeah, if you haven't had any change in circumstances, that doesn't mean that you can't ask for an additional discount. Families have a lot of power in this college admissions process that they often don't recognize. They can say no to any offer. They're the consumer here. And I've always encouraged families to go back and try to negotiate a lower price. But I think they're in a better position than ever this year because students are really reconsidering their options this year. They're thinking about taking gap
Right.
years. They're thinking about maybe starting at the local community college. Colleges are really nervous about filling their fall classes.
Which gets me to my next
So I
question and what
found,
I was going to ask you. Do you
yeah.
see these colleges reducing their tuition for the fall semester because they are expecting a lower attendance rate, if you will?
Yeah, so for the most part, and this is a changing situation, we have colleges announcing their plans for the fall. Every day now, a new college is announcing their plans. But typically, we haven't seen across the board discounts. Some colleges have discounted their tuition. Williams College, Princeton are a couple of the big names that have announced modest tuition discounts for the fall. But for the most part, colleges aren't issuing across the board discounts. They are continuing with their usual tuition increases. Colleges are really in a tough financial position right now. They've lost a ton of money due to campus closures and losing room and board revenue and
Right.
athletics and state budget cutbacks. So most colleges just really can't afford to cut tuition right now on an across the board basis. But I have seen them being more generous with more targeted discounts to those students
So when you say
who go back to
targeted
them and
discounts,
ask.
are you talking about just freshmen or does it apply to returning students as well?
In a typical year, and I probably always, you're in a better negotiating position as an incoming freshman when colleges know you have a lot of other
Right.
options. You might have been accepted to 3 or 5 or 10 different colleges that you could go to. As a continuing student, once you enroll, colleges know that you'd probably like to stay there for the most part. So I think your negotiating power is reduced, but it's really not non-existent, particularly this year. Colleges are not only interested in recruiting their incoming class, but in retaining their existing
Right.
students as well. That is really important to them. And so it never hurts to go ahead and ask the question, even as a
Well,
continuing student.
the
And
worst they could say
certainly,
is
if
no,
you've had a
right?
change,
And if you don't
that's
ask, the
exactly
answer
right.
is always no. All right, Coach
It's
Shannon
always no.
Vasconcelos, thanks so much for being with us. We appreciate it.
You are so welcome. Take care.